Dr. Reddy, Executive Vice Chairperson of Apollo Hospitals, for the welcome address.
Namaste. Our head of the family and my father, Dr. Reddy, the Postmaster General, Major Manoj, and the rest of his team. The rest of the Potipati family, which is my husband, my sister, my niece, and his granddaughter, Arvid, and the rest of you in the gathering, family members, and my mother is here, and my Samandhis are here. I'm so honored. Senior doctors in the gathering who've been part of our lives, members of International, Dynavision, DPN, and of course members of the media. I'd like to welcome you all and say thank you for being here today. It is truly a very special day, more than anything else but the people in the gathering. It's not every day that we get the entire family together. We get so much of love and affection. And this whole table is the great-grandchildren of my father-in-law, Mr. Obul Reddy. So a special call out to this table. Thank you all for being here because you are the future of the Potipati clan. My father-in-law came from a very small village in Andhra Pradesh called Potipati Varipalli. And just like my father came from Araganda, both these great men left their village, came into the city, worked extremely hard to make a difference in people's lives. And if we are commemorating his 100th year with a postal stamp, it is only to inspire future generations to do so much more for our country. It is all about nation building, and he was definitely a man way ahead of his times. And just few small memories. I was 19 when I got married, and I went into the family. I actually was a dancer, post-graduation in dance from Kanakshetra. He very sweetly told me, leave all that dancing in your home. You can't come here and do it because we were a very traditional Andhra family. I remember that so well. But sometimes I think I dance to everyone else's tune now. But having said that, when my father started on this great journey of the Apollo hospitals, it was a bit of a daunting journey. And many times he was worried. He said, your father is such a wonderful doctor. He does so well in his profession. Why is he doing it? But whatever, he used to affectionately call him PC. So he said, whatever PC does, we have to support him because I'm like his elder brother. So whatever my father did, sometimes he was a bit concerned, but he never showed it. He was just there as a support system for my father. So I think both the fathers built legacies, which we are also touched and we're so proud of. So thank you to both fathers for giving us and making us what we are. And then I started going to work, and every morning he would tell me by 8:30, you have to go to work. So there was such a change from a gentleman who said, you cannot dance on the stage, to somebody who said, you have to go to work and help your father. So that was the kind of person he was. He gave unstintingly to the arts and culture in this city. He was a great philanthropist. In Tirupati, those days, there was an endowment that all the yatris would be fed every day. And he did it quietly and he did it silently. And we're so grateful for that because the karma which comes from that, I think all of us enjoy. So there are multiple things he did, including building industries. And I'm sure that the grandchildren represented by Arvid and by Madhumita on the stage will carry that legacy forward. And we will all be so proud of the fact that we come from two wonderful families, and it is for the children, the grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren to carry this legacy forward. Thank you all for the time you've spent with us, and I hope that this is truly inspirational for generations to come. Thank you.
address. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Aditya Reddy, Joint Managing Director of International Limited and Director Polo Health Co. for the ceremonial address. Sir, welcome you onto the stage.
Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to stand before you today, Shri Obul Reddy. More than 5 decades ago, at a time when India's industrial landscape was still finding its feet, my grandfather dared to imagine something extraordinary. That an Indian company could compete with the best in the world through quality, integrity, and relentless customer focus. In 1972, he founded International Limited, known to every household as Nippo Batteries. He started not just a business, but a movement that proved Indian manufacturing could be world-class, that Indian brands could earn the trust across every corner of the country, and that growth means nothing unless it's built on values that endure. Under his leadership, Nippo became a symbol of reliability, performance, and love for customers. He believed in empowering people, employees, distributors, retailers, and communities. These principles built the strong foundation on which the company still stands. Today, as someone who's inherited his guiding light in a very real way, I have the privilege of carrying forward the torch of International Limited. I am constantly inspired by his vision and humbled by his responsibility of carrying it forward. Every decision we make, every product we launch, every market we enter, I remind myself that I am safeguarding not just a business, but a legacy. Over the last 5 decades, International Limited has evolved significantly. We expanded from dry cell batteries to modern alkaline, rechargeable, and LED technology. We built a national distribution network that reaches even the remotest parts of India. We modernized manufacturing, strengthened R&D, and embraced global quality systems. And today, we stand not just as a battery company, but as a diversified, future-ready consumer products organization, while also entering strategic sectors such as aerospace and defense. Yet, through all this evolution, one thing has never changed: the soul of the company. Our commitment to trust, transparency, and customer delight. As the current steward of this legacy, my role is to ensure that International Limited stays true to its roots while preparing it for the next 50 years. We are focusing on technology-driven innovation, sustainable manufacturing, expanding into new customer categories, and building an organization that blends the discipline of tradition with agility of modern business. My grandfather taught us that leadership is not about the position you hold, but the values you uphold. And as we look ahead, my commitment is clear: to honor his vision by building a company that remains relevant, respected, and resilient in a rapidly changing world. Shri Obul Reddy showed India what was possible. It is now our responsibility and my privilege to take that possibility even further, to lead with courage, to innovate without fear, and to ensure that every Indian household continues to say, Nippo, the brand I trust. That is the legacy we celebrate today, 100 years of life and a lifetime of grace. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. Up next, I'd like to invite Dr. Sunita Reddy, Managing Director of Apollo Hospitals, for the leadership remarks.
Namaste, my visionary father on the dais, Postmaster Major General Manoj, brother-in-law Mr. Vijay Kumar Reddy, and members of the family, the press, the Apollo family, which is so connected with everything that we've done. My sister spoke about the origins of my father-in-law. He came from a small town in Kadapa. But he came, and he came with a world vision. And I think that is really what transformed the legacy that he leaves behind. Where our memories of him are so strong, so sharp, and the qualities he has left behind is something that shape our lives. But as you think of the history of what he's done, like Adit said earlier, in 1972, he established International. But before that, he had already started distributing Godrej products. In 1975, he started Dynavision, and with that, he gave consumer homes a world vision. His life was deeply connected to what can I do that would improve the life of other people. And while he might have thought consumer, in his mind it was about people. And it was through technology, it was through the batteries, it was about building international partnerships, recognizing that we cannot live in an isolated and an island, but reach out to the rest of the world. It was all about bringing technology and making it homegrown like he did with Dynara TV. You know, it is no wonder that he called his company his Dynavision, because he was dynamic and he had the vision. Dyna Labs, his third venture, was a joint venture with Corning. And in that joint venture, his purpose was to light up homes and to bring energy into the homes of all individuals. While Dyna Labs, this partnership with Corning meant a lot to him. I think at one time when we were discussing this, I said, I used to call him Baba, because that was his universal name. It represented all the good that he stood for. I used to call him Baba, and I said, Baba, why should we do lamps? Why don't we do Corning optic fiber? Because telecom is the future. And he actually listened. And that's the time that I realized that this man who was building businesses accepted diversity. Today we talk so much about women coming into business, but for him it was a natural instinct. You know, we are doubly blessed. We cannot choose who our parents will be, and in a way I think we cannot choose who the families we marry into. But Preeta and I, my sister and I, were doubly blessed that we got into this family and had this man as our father-in-law. My mother-in-law would love to make us sit at home dressed in a sari and listen to Tyagaraja Kirtanas, because that's where his understanding of music came from. But my father-in-law was a mixture of the best. He would call me every evening and discuss the business. Another unique feature about him was that he was willing to take risks. You know, today when I travel to Delhi and Bombay, they say South Indians, you don't take risks, and that's why South Indian companies don't grow. But I think it's proof that, you know, for my visionary father, Dr. Reddy, and what my father-in-law did many, many years ago in the 1970s, that we were ready to take the right risks. And we took the risks because they had a purpose. So when my brother-in-law started his power company, PPN, he would call me in the night and say, oh my God, you know, it's 3,000 crores, it's 4,000 crores. How are they ever going to put this together? And I used to say, don't worry, Baba, you know, you've always been a pioneer, and I'm sure that everything you do with a purpose and a good heart will succeed. And in a way, everything that he's done has really changed the environment that we live in today. So I come before you today with much gratitude to try and describe in a few words what he stood for. I read the Ramayana last night, and in that they say that the defining moment of Hanuman was not his leap across the ocean. It was not the fact that he could convert himself from a small, sukshma sharira to someone who was Raj, but had the ability to say the right things to Sita at that time in Ashokavanam, to convince her that she should not commit suicide, to convince her that he was an emissary of Rama. And I think that words have meaning, words have energy. So I hope that I've conveyed these two most important aspects. I want to leave you with the third aspect of him, which in my mind is really something that few men possess. You know, I think of Leonardo da Vinci and his creation of the Vitruvian Man. And in that, he was the one who spoke about the golden mean. The ability to mix art and culture is so important in today's world. If we are to be Vikshit Bharat, not only should we move forward in industry and manufacturing, but we must not lose that sense of creativity. The deep admiration for the work that India has built in the past and take it forward to forms of art and dance that will convey the greatness and really create a better life. So today's example would be Steve Jobs. As you all know, Steve Jobs is the inventor of the Apple iPhone. Today, $1 trillion industry. But what made Steve Jobs different? It was a study of calligraphy, the art of writing that really differentiated him in creating a product. Last night, my grandson asked me, he said, "Why a stamp, Mama? No one's using a stamp." My grandson, "No one's using a stamp." So I said, yes, a stamp is something that people will remember, but more than anything else, it is the stamp of a good human being conveying great values. So to all of you who are present here, my gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing those beautiful personal insights. For those who have not interacted with Shri Obul Reddy, I think that gives a sense of the kind of person that he is. Up next, I'd like to invite Major M. Manoj, IPOS, Director of Personal Services, a special guest who's come here for releasing the postal stamp. But before that, I'd like to invite Mr. Aditya Reddy to felicitate Ms. Major Manoj M. for his presence here. So heartfelt wishes from us for being here today and gracing these occasions. Thank you so much, and thanks for being here today. Can we have another round of applause, please?
Sir, look here. Sir, one more.
Now I'd like to invite Major M. Manoj to share a few thoughts on this.
Like I'm telling you, what had been here?
Good afternoon, Chairman, Dr. C. Pratap Reddy, the dignitaries on the dais, press people, ladies and gentlemen, family members of Scion of Apollo Hospitals. It's a very pleasant afternoon here. You know, among all the businesses in the world, the most noble business is saving human lives. So that's what Apollo Hospitals have been doing for decades and decades. And whenever a man is in distress, not only here, but anywhere in the world, we commonly hear Apollo Hospitals as being considered as, we commonly hear them uttering the word Apollo Hospital. Why not we consider Apollo Hospital? So that famous is Apollo Hospital is when it comes to a people's mind, a person's mind when he is in distress. So we are deeply honored, India Post is deeply honored to be a part of this great legacy of being associated with the names of Apollo Hospitals and its founders. India Post has been having a long-standing partnership with the Apollo Hospitals. We even released a commemorative stamp. It started with a commemorative stamp 40 years ago. For the 40 years completion of Apollo Hospitals, and we have released, as of now, we have released some 66 corporate my stamps on various occasions of the events of Apollo Hospitals. So it's been a great partnership, and I know as Mrs. Reddy said that one of the kids from the family has uttered the word that who uses a stamp now. Now, why to release a stamp on a person's name? As she rightly said, that it's a historic event, coming up a stamp on the name of a person is indeed a great honor one can do to that person's legacy. But also I would like to tell the kids that yes, we agree, from the India Post we agree that days are going by. We will no longer use the physical stamps. But for your generation, Gen Z people, we have an upcoming idea called digital stamps. So maybe once you grow up and you sit here, you will be releasing a digital stamp on one of these events. So you have to hear that. So let the partnership continue for as long as we live. Thank you for this great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for sharing your words and thoughts, and also highlighting the fact that India Post is coming up with digital stamps. I think it's great to know. Up next, I'd like to invite our founder and chairman, Dr. Reddy, for the special address.
Greetings to all of you. I think this morning is a very remarkable day because we are celebrating 100th anniversary of a remarkable person, Obul Reddy. Many of you know him. I knew him probably for about over 50 years. So, what I would call him is a person omnipotent. Today, to start an industry, probably it's easy. Like a hospital, today if you want to start a hospital, you probably can do it in a week's time. But in the early 50s, when he started the industry, it was not easy. But he did it. He had that determination. But whatever, that shows his characteristic, but whatever he entered into, he did it with great affection and the dynamism. This is where he showed, not just in industry, he did in public service. He started schools, he started charitable hospitals, and most importantly, he is known all over Madras. Again, when the month comes, the December month comes, there several people come from all over the world come here, and people in Chennai who are fond of music were there. Everywhere they remember Obul Reddy because he is the one who encouraged the music academy, who encouraged Tyagaraja. So all of this, he did it with his passion. It is not because he was asked to do it. He did, voluntarily did everything. This is where I think he was a remarkable person. But for us in the family, here are my sons-in-laws, Shri and Vijay and Dwara, our Samadhis, Apparao and Mrs. Apparao, and his nieces. I remember she showed me a picture of one of our daughters had the first bone marrow transplant in Chennai. Obul asked me 2 weeks before that, is it safe to do this surgery? I said, I spoke to the doctors before you called me, but they say that it will go through very well. I'm very happy. She just showed me the picture. She is now in the United States with 2 of her children. So this is where I had a greater association with him. Not as only as a Samadhi, and with 2 of my daughters married to son, but in Apollo, he was one of founder director, but throughout, he gave me that first in the beginning he said, You are a very good cardiologist, doing well, where do you want to do your hospital? Then I said, I want to do this, and this is my purpose, that India should have a good health care for people. And then when he's convinced, he gave me a full support. You know, as a founder director, not in the board meeting, but I could call him any time. And this is what his great spirit is. He had that wisdom, he had that dynamism, and more importantly, he has the credibility to authenticate what is good, what's good, and the way of life. So I'm particularly, as I said, to describe him, as an industrialist, as a philanthropist, and a person who is devoted to music. Music academy, actually when we had the function, I think probably everyone recollected the many wonderful things that you have done. But Tyagaraja, this one, I still recollect. I am away for a few days busy. That means he goes to Tyagaraja, this one, and I am happy the children are following it and putting up, encouraging the institution. This is where all of us will have something to remember, something we can walk in the path that he has shown us in a few ways at least. I now am coming to the most important thing. Major Manoj, you were very, very nice to say we are releasing a stamp on him. This is a great honor to do for not just for him, for all the activities that he has done. As an industrialist, as a philanthropist, and as a person who loved music, and a person who started many of the institutions for public good. They will remember forever. Thank you for releasing the stamp, and I am particularly thankful because it is a recognition of the various services that he has done in almost every, especially the 4 fields that he looked after. I'm particularly happy that today, yesterday, we had this function to celebrate the things. Today, it's a function to recognize the various activities in which he has made a significant impact, for not just for him, but the nation and the people. I think this is where he is a very special person, and we all admire him. And for all the relatives that are here, I know it is an occasion to think back the various things that he has done to them and to their family, and the love that he has given to each and every one of them. But as I said, I knew him as a prominent citizen of India, but then I became a samadhi when my daughter got married. So I have a peculiar affection, both as an admirer and second as a part of the family. God bless him. God will give him the peace in heaven. And I'm sure many people who remember him will follow the various phenomenal initiatives that he has started. God bless all of you, and especially for the family and for the Apollo family who are here. I must say, we will remember him forever for the wonderful things and directions that he has given. And for the industry, to sons-in-law who are continuing the industry, and the grandchildren who are following it, for them I would say, please always recollect what your father or grandfather has done. That's the only way we can pay a tribute for a man who was an exception in everything that he did. God bless.
Thank you so much, Chairman Sir. Thanks for sharing your long association with Shri Obul Reddy. Your presence and aura, as always, makes any event special, and so appropriate for sharing your positivity amongst us today for this special event. Up next, we have a sweet little surprise for you. We have the next generation who's coming up, who wants to share a few words with us. We have Master Vishwajit, who wants to say something.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vishwajit and I'm the great grandson of Baba. Wait, one second. Even though I never got to meet him, Baba, today feels very special to me. I have heard so many stories about him, and I now feel like I know him a little better. I learned that Baba was a very kind, strong, and wise person. He always helped people. He always put families first, and he made everyone feel loved. I also know he worked very hard and never gave up. I am proud to be a part of his family. I feel proud to carry his name forward. I hope that when I grow up, I can follow in his footsteps. Then, and with goodness, strength, and courage. Thank you.
That was an extremely sweet speech, Mr. Master Vishwajit. So next up, we've come to the major event of today's program, which is the releasing and unveiling of the customized My Stamp. So can I invite all the dignitaries to come towards the center of the stage, please, for unveiling the stamp. I would also like to request the rest of the family members to come up to the stage, including all the grandchildren. I'd like to invite Ms. Vijayalakshmi, Ms. Vaidehi Reddy. Can we have all of you onto the stage, please, for the grand unveiling?
families, respected elders, friends and guests, good afternoon. I'd like to acknowledge a very special person present with us today, Dr. Ramesh, the oncology doctor who looked after Baba and his niece. Today is a profound moment of pride for our family. We are here today celebrating the centenary of Shri Obul Reddy Garu, and also to witness a national honor that captures the essence of who he was. A man who lived with purpose, humility, and quiet strength. A commemorative postal stamp is far more than a tribute. It carries a life story across the country, touching hands and homes that may never have known him personally. It stands as a reminder that service, integrity, and devotion to society never fade with time. To see my grandfather's legacy preserved in this form fills our entire family with gratitude. Shri Obul Reddy believed that institutions must be built on values, not ambition. Moreover, whether it was industry, philanthropy, education, or the arts, he poured sincerity into everything he created. His approach was simple. Work must uplift people and strengthen the nation. I would also like to express our family's appreciation to the Postal Department for this distinguished recognition. It ensures that the values my grandfather lived by will continue to travel across the country, inspiring many more lives than even he could have imagined. This centenary is also a moment of reflection for all of us. It invites us to honor the past while reviewing our commitment to the ideals we have inherited. My grandfather believed that the true measure of a life is not in what you accumulate, but in what you enable. This stamp, this occasion, and your presence today reminds us of the enduring strength of that belief. On behalf of our entire family, thank you for being here to celebrate this historic moment with us. Your presence honors Shri Obul Reddy and the values he held so dearly. Thank you.